What is going on, you guys, and welcome back to another video. So this will pretty much be my ranking of Spider-Man's villains. Now, of course, I'm only including the live action movies, only doing the live action movies, none of the cartoons, none of the video games, nothing like that. Only the movies. And we have 10 villains here to pretty much to rank. So let's get started. My number 10 for me is obviously going to be Topher Grace's version of Venom. Yeah, Topher Grace. His version of Eddie Brock in Venom. Now, when he is fully venomized, when he like suited up and whatnot, and I mean, it looks cool. It looks good, but whenever it's like Topher Grace's face and whatnot, and like it's like it kind of like takes you out of it. It kind of pretty much takes you out of it to where he's given like he like he wants you to think that he's tough, but in reality, yeah, no, I'm not really intimidated by a Topher Grace Venom. I kind of wish. Can you imagine if he returned in, if Topher Grace's version of Venom returned in No Way Home, and they somewhat, eh, I don't even know what that would even look like, but part of my brain kind of would have loved to see that. But yeah, though, number 10 for me, Topher Grace's version of Venom. My number 9 for me is going to be Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, I do like the look of Lizard in the Lizard, even though it's not technically what you would expect from like the cartoons or from the video games, because obviously, like in the cartoons and in the games, the Lizard that we have in the movies is pretty much missing the snout part on its, as well as he doesn't really wear the lab coat. So, so yeah, I know it's weird. Plus, this whole idiotic plan I always thought was pretty stupid. Oh, I'm gonna turn the whole city into lizards. Like that's a really stupid, dumb motivation for a villain. And then obviously, when he returned in No Way Home, he's not really given much to do. He's pretty sidelined until pretty much the action until pretty much you get to the action scenes and whatnot. He really doesn't. Amongst the villains in No Way Home, he really doesn't like stand out at all. So yeah, Lizard for me is my number 9. Coming in at my number 8, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but coming in at my number 8 for me, Paul Giamatti's version of Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, the only reason why he is even this high up on the list is obviously because, number one, because pretty much after seeing the version of Rhino that we got in the Kraven the Hunter movie, which was a pile of garbage version of Rhino, I look back now at Paul Giamatti's version of Rhino, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take your cartoonish version of Rhino any day before I take the version of Rhino that we got in Kraven the Hunter. Mech-looking Power Ranger suit and all, with the machine guns. But yeah, Paul Giamatti's version of Rhino, he opens up Amazing Spider-Man 2, he bookends Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was shown in its entirety in the freaking trailers. But yeah, the Paul Giamatti's version of Rhino, he is just clearly just hamming it up and pretty much this goofy goofball version of Rhino. And yeah, I know. Again, he doesn't have the whole Rhino comic accurate costume. Again, like I said, it's more of a mech suit Power Ranger looking costume with machine guns and whatnot, which Rhino doesn't even. Which another thing as well, Rhino doesn't have machine guns. But 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 still though, but still though, yeah, but still though, I'll take this version of Rhino, uh, um, 1,000 times before I ever take the version of Rhino that we got in the garbage Craven the Hunter movie. So, yeah, Paul Giamatti's version of Rhino from Amazing Spider-Man 2, number 8. My number 7 for me is gonna be Thomas Hayden Church's version of Sandman from Spider-Man 3 and from Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, obviously the good stuff. I like the Sandman like transformation sequence in Spider-Man 3. That is one of the greatest. Like, I like the fact that it pretty much carries on the theme that pretty much all the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies pretty much have to where, yeah, he's a villain, but you can understand his motivation take wanting to pretty much take care of his sick daughter and whatnot and obviously get as much like money and whatnot as he possibly can. Again, like I said as well, and the sand effects on Sandman look pretty good especially for 2007 when he came back in No Way Home. Yeah, I know the whole logic issue. There was the whole logic issue of, like why did Sandman turn, bad again in Spider-Man No Way Home when he just wanted to pretty much see his daughter and whatnot, but um uh, and obviously care for his sick daughter. I know a lot of people pretty much complain about that aspect of him in No Way Home, but I still think that Sandman still did a pretty damn good job. Even though yeah, the actor himself wasn't physically there on set because obviously this was still during the days of the time, of course, when the pandemic was going around. So I mean, they had to work with for what they had to work with. So, but still though, Sandman is still pretty high up here because obviously Thomas Hayden Church does a damn good job in the role, and the sand effects still look really damn good to this day. So yeah, Sandman for me, my number 7. My number 6 for me, Dane DeHaan's version of Green Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now this version of Green Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man 2 definitely looks better than the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin looking Power Ranger costume from the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. It actually looks like like Green Goblin, and I thought that Dane DeHaan's version of Harry Osborn did a good job. I just think that yeah, if we were to get more movies with this, I mean, if we were to get more amazing, clearly, if we were possibly to get an Amazing Spider-Man 3, I'm sure Dane DeHaan definitely would have returned as his version of Green Goblin for that movie. Heck, part of me kind of wishes that he returned for No Way Home. I mean, why not have Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man 2? I mean, that would have been crazy. But yeah, though, Dane DeHaan's version of Harry Osborn / Green Goblin comes in. And for me, at my number 6. Number 5 for me is Jamie Foxx as Electro. And, and And first of all, I really do love the special effects on Electro. I actually like the blue look that they went with for Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I know a lot of people like to complain and bitch about. Oh, he looks like well, guess what? There pretty much was versions of Electro in the comics and in some of the cartoons and games to where he is blue and not the traditional yellow yellow that we know him as. Which thankfully which pretty much thankfully for all of those fans, Spider-Man No Way Home corrected that. But yeah, though I really like Jamie Foxx's version of Electro. He of course did a really good job in the role, especially whenever he came back in No Way Home, and they pretty much expanded on the whole thing with obviously him, of course. And they pretty much expanded on his whole motivation to where all he wants is pretty much to be seen and known. So, and of course he of course doesn't want to give up his powers. And of course they course corrected with the whole, again making him more like the version of Electro that from the cartoons and from the video games and the comics actually, also as well. But yeah, though, Jamie Foxx as Electro for me comes in at my number 5. Coming in at my number 4 is Michael Keaton's Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. Pretty much on the. And I know I'm gonna make the joke as well. But hey, I'm not the first to make the joke. Obviously, my good buddy on YouTube, Sean Chandler, pretty much says that Michael Keaton's Vulture pretty much is kind of like the Walter White of the MCU. Which, hey, if Michael Keaton's Vulture is the Walter White of the MCU, who's the Jesse of the MCU? I'm just saying. But yeah, though, to where Adrian Toomes pretty much just wants to like protect his family and whatnot, and the Vulture costume, huge step up because I am not really a fan of what the Vulture looks like in the cartoons and in some of the video games. I don't know. So like having like again this mech looking costume pretty much a good modernized pretty much take on the character. So and even the scenes without the Vulture suit, Michael Keaton is really damn terrifying. Like obviously the scene where he talks to pretty much Peter in the car on the way to the homecoming dance, and he's like, "Don't mess with me, because I will kill you and everybody you love." You just get chills when you see that scene. You're like, "Oh, damn." So yeah, Michael Keaton Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming comes in for me at my number 4. My number 3, Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio from Spider-Man Far From Home. And now, obviously, if you know the comics and whatnot, pretty much you know that obviously with Jake Gyllenhaal's version of Mysterio, he pretty much thinks he's the good guy, but obviously those of us that know the character of Mysterio, we were pretty much waiting for the whole movie for him to pretty much, snap and but thankfully though he does do a good job at convincing both the characters in the movie as well as us the audience that he kind of pretty much is here to help against these elemental monsters. And thankfully again, Mysterio in the cartoons and in some of the games kind of looked a little silly, like the whole because obviously he has like the whole fishbowl for a head and whatnot. But thankfully, again, with Spider-Man Far From Home, they pretty much gave us like a better, pretty much looking version of the Mysterio costume. Again, still with the fishbowl head, but of course, even with the fishbowl head, like when you see the pretty much in live action form, it's not really all distracting to where you're like it kind of is like in the cartoons or in some of the video games. And those Mysterio illusion sequences, some of the best visualized action that we have gotten in the in the Spider-Man movies. Like that whole entire illusion sequence that Mysterio pretty much has for Spider-Man to like so like again, it's visually stunning, it's intense, it's a really damn good action scene. So yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's version of Mysterio, my number three. Number two for me is Dr. Octopus from obviously Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home. And Alfred Molina does a really damn good job with the character of Dr. Otto Octavius, and to where pretty much, yeah, while he is the villain, he pretty much chooses to sacrifice himself at the end of Spider-Man 2 2004, and then they pretty much obviously expand on that when you get to Spider-Man No Way Home, and he's pretty much returned, and he pretty much gets cured again, obviously, and then he comes back to help all three Spider-Men pretty much take down Electro. Yeah, Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus for me comes in at my number two. But coming in at my number one, of course, Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1, and of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, the one take that I do have against Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin is his suit in the first Spider-Man movie. I've never really been a big fan of. I mean, like, which thankfully, again, they rectify that in No Way Home and give him a much better look to where he pretty much looks a little bit more like the comic accurate version of Green Goblin. But what Willem Dafoe pretty much brings to the character is obviously his maniacal obviously like personality, and how he pretty much wants to make Spider-Man's life pretty much a living hell, especially in No Way Home. When you get Spider-Man No Way Home, and Green Goblin is pretty much the one that gives the fatal blow to Marissa Tomei's Aunt May, and obviously Tom Holland's Spider-Man's was pretty much pissed about it, to the fact that he pretty much wanted his revenge, and Green Goblin was pretty much just laughing it off, like, go ahead, do it, kill me. You know what I mean? Just really creep under Tom Holland Spider-Man's skin. And you can pretty much tell that out of all the villains that returned in No Way Home, Willem Dafoe, he's like, oh, I'm coming. Willem Dafoe was pretty much the one that was like, oh, I'm glad. Oh, you guys want me to come back? Oh, I'm coming back, but I'm going to be even more maniacal and crazy. And obviously give you guys a way better look. Like, obviously, like with the purple hoodie and the green costume is still underneath, but I love the purple hoodie, and he gets rid of the mask, and it's just Willem Dafoe's face, like, and you're like, yes, now he's full on Green Goblin. So yeah, Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin has, and pretty much, and probably, who knows, always will be my favorite Spider-Man villain. So Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin comes in for me at my number one. So what do you guys think? What is your ranking of the live action Spider-Man movie villains? Let me know down below in the comments, guys, and we will talk about it. You guys can click over here for my previous video, and you guys can click over here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. With that, I will be seeing you guys later. Peace out.